Sorry for that. Okay, you take off the seat. I don't know where the phone stopped. You take off the seat by removing these two 6mm bolts and the one 6mm bolt at the back. Take off the seat, it slides out. It's got a hook that's hooking here. You just take it, lift it at the back and pull it out, and then we come to the tank. I did remove the tank. I'll tell you now why. It's very simple. One bolt at the back, you take it out with this washer grommet setup, and then here you've got only one overflow pipe. You just pull it off somewhere with a long nose pliers or something. Just lift the tank a bit. Here you've got another underneath. You've got another, I don't know, return pipe or whatsoever. And then this is a fuel injection. This pipe is also underneath the tank, and this one as well. This one had a clamp. I took off the clamp and removed it. This one has got this two simple clips on the side. You just push the two clips in like this and pull it off. I pushed the clips in and I just helped it off with a big flat screwdriver. Then you lift the tank. In the front you've got the ignition and stuff here on top. So there's only two plugs I took out, and then the tank comes off. Alright, so I removed the tank, and then I removed only the one exhaust pipe. It wasn't necessary to remove the other one. The reason I removed this one, I think it was in the way of the caliper. Yeah, the caliper or the stud for the shock. I can't remember, but yeah, I stripped it about a week and a half ago, and then I ordered parts, so the parts came lately, and now I've got time to carry on again. Alright, so I took off the brake caliper at the back. It's only two bolts. I never took out the banjo connections here or in front. You can't remove it from here. The only way to remove it from here is to take the banjo bolts out and take it out like this, but it's not necessary, really it's not. You just unclip it here in the front. There's two clips. This pipe, the brake pipe, when you will see it's clipped in there. So just unclip it there, very easy. And then I took out the shocks as well, the two rear shocks on top and bottom. It's very easy to take them off. The bike bench I've built myself because it's just picking it a little bit higher from the ground. I can't work in the ground like that. So I took a piece of wooden block, I cut it off, and there I put the car jack somewhere underneath the engine and picked the whole bike up. And then I put the block here, and here at the back you can see properly. It's a big strong bar here, right there where my fingers is. So I lowered it, and then the bike is laying on that wooden block. And in the front I've got a wheel chock, so it's fine. It's keeping the bike up straight, no problems. And then also I removed the rear, the back wheels shaft as well. Here's all the parts. And then I stripped it from this side to the left side of the back. And let's go to the other side. Alright guys, so I took off this shock on this side as well, and then I removed the drive shaft first before I took off the rear swing arm with the drive shaft built into it. I took off the drive shaft first. Excuse me. There's a trick to remove it, and then you must be very careful. The drive shaft pushes in here, right here. It's got splines, it goes in here. You see there's a little hole. Right in front of my finger is a little hole, very tiny hole. That's it. On the inside, on one of the, I can feel it on the inside, it's a little bit bigger on the inside. So what happens there, In this one we've got another hole there, right there. There's a tiny little pin, and it's very easy to remove, very easy. Because that hole is smaller on top, this little pin, very tiny pin, don't lose it, believe me, don't lose it. Goes in there, but it can't come through because the hole is smaller. On the inside here we've got like a plate, spring, something. So if you put it in here, it pushes against that spring, but it's sticking out a bit there. And this gear here in front is taper. So with this thing in place, you just push it up, just make sure to line up the hole with a pin, and you hear a tiny little click, then it's in. From there, to remove it is very easy. You just take a paper clip or something, open it up and just push it in there. While you're pushing it in, as deep as you can, start pushing and pulling on the rear shaft. But by that time you should have removed the swing arm bolt, but it's from that side. Yes, thread in here, and then you do hooks. It hooks this side, so the bolt, the long bolt comes from that side through and screws in here. So you take out the shaft, and well, also the back wheel, you take it off and then start pushing and pulling it, and very easily you'll see it come off. Alright, then what I did, I removed the engine mountings. The reason there were no clutch on the bike, it's actually very simple too. I couldn't understand why the clutch went gone and there were no clutch, but as long as you throttle and it's like it's cooling off a bit, then the clutch is back again. But the moment you start closing the fuel, the accelerator, and this noise is there, etc., the clutch disappears again, then there's no clutch anymore. The reason why, our bevel bearing, this is the condition of the original factory fitted bevel bearing. Now, some guys in the engineering business will know that this is not right. This is not right. No ball bearing in the world can work like this. Okay, so, alright. It is situated right next to the bevel gear with this big nut over here. And actually, first of all, it goes in here first. Underneath. Into the casing, and then there's a little plate that goes over the bearing. It's tightening with two small bolts, 6mm bolts. Right there, you'll see when you open it today. It keeps the bearing in place there inside. Now this bearing is the problem. There's the little bolt that keeps it attached. So on the end of the day, you've got this cover here. The drive shaft part comes here at the back, exactly like this. The reason why you have to strip everything all around is to take this thing off, because inside this bevel gear, I usually talk about the crown and pinion gear, whatever, works like this. Alright, and you can't take off this cover with this piece intact, because it's keeping it. If this gear was on the other side, yeah, no problem, but this is the problem. This is the reason why we have to strip everything to get this drive gear out from the back side. Alright, so to cut a long story short, I removed the engine mountings at the back. While it's still standing in a block, I was lifting it at the back. The reason why, only one bolt, you struggle to get it out. You really struggle. You can loosen it, you can take it out halfway, but it pushes against the frame. Alright, that's the first thing. The second thing is the gear lever shaft here from the gearbox. Put some more light for us. There we go. There you see the gear lever shaft. The gear links goes onto it. This one, it goes in just like this, in this position. Now this is another problem to take off. Only to take this link off that shaft, because you have to remove it before you can pull off this cover. Alright, so what I did is I even took out the front engine mounting. I even loosened the front two bolts. This is the reason I took off the tank, is because to lift the engine, so it mustn't push the tank and stuff. But I can lift the engine. What I did is, eventually, it took me about 3 hours to strip everything to get this bevel bearing out of here. What I did is, I took a guala. I don't know, I believe the guala is the right English word for it. It's a piece of iron with a point like this, but only a little bit. And then I put it here at the back. Just be careful for the pipes. Don't hurt the pipes at the back. And then I push the engine forward a bit. The reason is to get it forward is for this. Yeah, right here I experienced some problem because you have only like 1 inch, 25 millimeters gap. That's it. That's not enough to take out that bolt at the bottom and that gear shaft. Alright, so I took off the front mountings as well, and then I moved the engine a bit forward, and then I tilted it over like this, and then still not easy, just take it off. I still struggled, but I managed to get it off. Alright, the one bolt out, and then the other one is that link. I took out the bolt, and I took a big flat screwdriver and I wedged it open as far as possible. Be careful, not too far, it might break off. This is just a casting, so it's not very flexible, so you can it's easy to break. So I just wedged it open a bit, and then I took it off eventually. Alright, so I took it apart. Now I've stripped everything up and until here where I am. I haven't cleaned anything yet, but the moment I took off this cover, I wiped out some of the pieces on this cover. But yeah, on the end of the day, a bearing with play like this, you must have shavings, and the shavings was laying all over here inside, etc, etc. So underneath, underneath here we've got a pre-filter right here behind the stand actually, but on the engine we've got a pre-filter. It's a big bolt like this. You must take it out, please guys, take it out. Then you'll find it inside. It's just lying like this. This is just a filter, a pre-filter. You take out the bolt, it's only this cap, number one. Number two, you take a long nose pliers, grab this filter and pull it out. And the moment you pull it out, see what's on it. See what do we have on it. On the pre-filter itself. All that bearings, shavings. You don't want shavings in the engine. Luckily there's a pre-filter that catches the most of it. From here it goes to the oil filter. So on the end of the day, after cleaning everything and assembled everything, I will obviously clean the pre-filter, etc, etc, and put a new filter with some cheap oil, some just cheap motor oil. And this bike uses, I can't remember, but I've got plenty of vehicles here. I can't remember every vehicle's type of oil, so I've got it written there. But I know it's a very expensive oil. So I'll buy the expensive oil with like 3 filters and put it one side. And let's say 2 containers of cheap oil. And then after cleaning this and assembled everything, I'll put the new filter with cheap oil. Just start it and run it like, say, only 5 kilos or so. Come back and drain that oil immediately, and also the filter, get it changed again with a new one, and the pre-filter, take it out, clean it again, just to make sure you get all the pieces out as far as possible, and replace it again with another new cheap oil and do the same. Just flush it like 2-3 times maybe, and then on the end, the last shot, you just put your expensive oil, the right oil, and the right oil filter. Then you know you shouldn't have any problem from there. Okay, so guys, in the beginning of the video I told you that my whole life long I was rebuilding bikes and what. Currently I'm busy rebuilding an old Kawasaki KZ1000 shaft. But this is the last one I'm building because it's getting difficult to get parts and stuff. So, but yeah, it's almost done. Anyway, I'm not just your normal. Usually when something happens, I want to know why. Now here's the big thing. The moment I've stripped everything here, I started checking out all this. And the reason why, and anyway, the reason it was leaking oil is because, look at the color of this bearing. It overheated, it burned, it really burned. When I stopped at the second last robot from my house, another guy in the car next to me showed me, hey, look, your bike is on fire, it's only smoke and stuff. So yeah, well, it was raining that day like mad, and I was riding in the water and stuff. But it was overheating. It burned. So on the side of this cover, you've got a little cap. Not a little cap, it's actually a large cap. Here it is. It just pushes in there, and it's got a rubber seal. So, but it got so extremely hot, this seal burned. There, it's broken as well. So, but anyway, I'll make a plan to get it sealed again, or even if I have to order a new one from Kawasaki, I'll do so. But I'll get it right. Anyway, usually, like I said, when something happens, I'm the type of person, I want to know, why did it happen? So, and I will sit here and I will look everything over and over until I know. Now, I'm not the most clever person in the world, but with my little experience, I can think for myself. Out of my side, I just think that Kawasaki made a mistake here. Guys, please, don't just replace this bearing. No. In my eyes, like I said from my side, it's not the right thing to do. This is not the right bearing for this job. Like I said, if I can help only one guy, I'll be happy. Think for yourself. Guys that knows about gears and stuff. This shaft here with the bevel gear on it, it pulls off like this very easily. That's it. That 3 teeth works into that 3 slots over there. And here we've got a needle bearing. Alright, now there's some splines with a spring, and then here comes your bevel gear. So the moment inside here we've got another large bearing, almost like the bevel bearing, but a bit bigger. But this is part of the gearbox bearing itself. And to be honest with you, this bearings is actually, look, there's still some shavings and stuff that must get out. This is actually the old bevel bearing that's broken now. Guys, this is actually, it's a Koyo bearing made in Japan. The part number for it is 6305. This is really actually a very good bearing, but it was used the wrong way. Now this is the people that design everything, they don't think that something like this will happen. So there is mistakes, and then we just fix it afterwards and do it a better and stuff. So you put this bearing 6305, the original one. You can buy it, you can order it from Kawasaki itself. Our local bearing shop do have them in stock. Some are plenty of them, and so it's not necessary to order it from Kawasaki itself, because here we don't get any Kawasaki parts. We always have to order, and it takes weeks to come. But this is a bearing you can get from your local dealers all over, bearing shops and stuff. Alright, so, but I took it out and I was thinking, before I even asked for another bearing just to put up here, when you replace it with the same 6305 bearing, believe me, 30 something thousand miles, we are sitting right here again, and you don't want to. It's not an easy job to strip this, and guys, I want to help. I really want to help. I don't want any money or any, I really want to help. A bearing is designed, in this case, it's going into that casing and a shaft is going through it. So in the casing, it can work like this. It can take tons of pressure on the top or the bottom or the front, whatsoever. It can work very hard. It can take many pressure. Right, and it will last. Especially this bearing that's inside the gearbox with an oil supply. It's actually impossible. Like I said, I've been rebuilding bikes my life long, and I don't get gearbox bearing trouble. Never. You don't get them because they are pushing forward or pushing backwards or upside or down the right way. So they've used the right bearing for the right thing. But this is not right. The reason I'm telling you that, if you look at this bevel gear, it goes up there. There it's got a needle bearing. We call it a needle bearing. This with the long balls, sticks. This is the needle bearings. Very, very, very good bearings, and it can also handle plenty pressure. That bearing works inside this bevel gear shaft. Okay, so let me just put it back like this, over on its shaft. So the moment I've got the bevel gear in here, so whatever happens here, that bevel gearing gets pressure from the top or the front or the back or the bottom, whatsoever, it can handle it. Alright, now here's the trick. When this thing is assembled, and then also a thing that I've noticed is that some of the YouTube clips, the guys got the gasket here, it's packing, you know, normal packing, but this is a steel plate gasket, and this also, I think this is shims, I'm not sure because it's two of them. I think this is how they shim the space between the two gears. Alright, so anyway, alright, let me just take it off like this. This gear is working like this. Exactly. Now here comes the trick. That is the thing. The moment you turn this shaft, because it's not gears that runs in front of each other like inside the gearbox, because of that, it's a crown and pinion gear. We've got like a 45-degree angle here. Okay, so to cut a long story short, the moment you put some torque on the shaft, what is going to happen? Every teeth on this bevel gear, it's got an angle. It must have an angle. You see? It's thick at the bottom, thin at the top. So which means it's got an angle. The reason, because of its angle, the moment you put torque on it, it's like it's pushing them away from each other. The moment you put torque on it, it pushes it away from each other. Do you understand what I mean? So what happens now? Let's just put this down. Because it's pushing away, just remember that this bevel gearing was sitting here at the back, like this. Okay, so the moment this happens, that it's pushing away, what happens now? With this everything assembled, and you do have your pressure from the side. Look clearly. What happened? This is what happened. You see, it's pushing it out. It mustn't push it out. This bearing is not designed to take any pressure from the sides. Not at all. It's a very good bearing, I'm honest. But use it the right way. This is not the right way. It can't handle, no ball bearing in the world can handle pressure from the side. No normal ball bearing like this can handle it. Let me show you something else. Let's take a grinder, put this bearing on the table and cut this bearing between that balls, or right in the middle of that ball, from this side to this side. We cut it in half and we turn it like this. What do we have? We've got those bearing over there. The inside goes like this. It's got a slot where the ball is running. This is the inside of the bearing. Alright. Then you've got your ball bearing itself, that steel ball in there. And then the outside of the bearing, we've got this. Alright, so the bevel shaft goes through here, and this part is inside the casing. Alright, now with the pressure from the side, what happens? Where is this bearing working? Because it's pushing it from the side, it wants to push through, but that steel ball is blocking it, which means it's running only on that little side, from there to there on the side. Look on that. And exactly the same on the outside piece. It's running only on this little side here. I really hope that you understand it. And this is hell of a torque. It's not the pressure we get. It's plenty of pressure, and all that pressure is only running on the inside of that bearing, on this little bit of meat here at the bottom and there on the top. So this is that bearing 6305 that Kawasaki used for a bevel bearing. Alright, now me myself, I say no go, don't replace it with that bearing. Go and buy another bearing. I'll give you the number and I'll show you exactly. It's an NSK bearing. It's a decent bearing, brand new. This bearing is actually exactly the same as the old bevel bearing. See what happened because of the pressure on the side? There's not really play, but yeah. Anyway, if you look at this bearing and the number of this bearing, it's an NSK bearing. The number, hopefully you can see when we zoom in or whatsoever. I'm watching through the camera now. 73. Just want to show you 73058. 73058. This is the number of this part, this bearing. It's also made in Japan as the other one. But now the difference between these two bearings. It's exactly the same size, it's exactly the same thickness. The birth dates are not the same exactly, but yeah. The difference between them. Look here at the back. Look on the OD, the outside diameter of this. Look how thin it is. But the inside, look how thick it is. If you turn this bearing around, look how thick the outside is and how thin the inside is. So which means, if you look at this, thicker this side, thinner this side, so which means this bearing inside is going taper. And also this one is going taper. So let me show you on this paper I've got here. I'm gonna draw the exact same thing, but where your steel balls is working, it's not level, it's tapered. A little bit of meat there in the front, and it goes most around, and then you've got more meat at the back, something like that. I haven't measured it and everything, but this is exactly how it works actually. A little bit in front and more at the back. Okay, so then you've got like your steel ball in there, so you've got much more meat here that it's working on. And on the outside piece, more in front, a little at the back, something like this, guys. So if this bearing, there's only one way you can install it as well. So let me show you that way. If you look at this bearing can take, if you install it, it can take pressure from this side. It's built for pressure, both sides, front, rear, bottom, top, and then also from the side. Okay, so if you look at this bearing, here's your thick side, here's your thin side. So it means that it can have plenty pressure from this side, which means the way I've got it now, this is exactly how I must get on there. Exactly, and it fits like a dream, 100%. Your ID, OD, thickness, everything is the same, but the angle on the inside is a hell of a difference. So let's say 35,000 miles, maybe 300,000 miles, I'm not sure. I haven't installed it yet. This is the first time I've put it up now. But I believe